Hello, welcome to the CodeGenerator tool course. Today we are going to see how to create your own templates. I am assuming you have had a chance to look at the other two videos about the Velocity template language and the EUL API. Before you continue, make sure you understand both concepts. Using the example code that we have used in the other two videos, we have here a fully functional template. As any code generator template, it is defined by its main XML file. In this case is the coordinator XML, and here we can find some metadata like the template name, the template version, the template description. You may have more than one XML using the same Velocity macros. So ensure that your description is coherent with what the template does. Then we have the variables. In this case we have only one variable, which is called page name. This variable will then be available in the Velocity macros as $page name or any other variable access method for the Velocity template language. We have here the default value of this variable. In case the user doesn't set it, this will be the default value for this variable. We can set whether it is required or not. In this case it's not required, but since there is a default value, we will always have this value set. And we have a description. Ensure your description is coherent with what the value does and it is useful. Then we have the macros. In this case we have many macros, one per each case of iteration. So this is a very useful template to look at how the code generator tool iterates through the macros. The first macro uses as template the Velocity macro called index.html.vm. It iterates only once for the project. It has the output index.html and it imports statically the action type. This way, when in the index.html VM, we can reference the static type action type as a variable using the $sign and action type as I have selected there. So make sure your capitalization is correct. Second example, we have the index_ont_html.vm, which is used for every ontology in the transformation project, which has the output, and have a look at this. We are using Velocity once again, so we are using the output, which is something/something.html. What is this something? Oh, it is the fragment part of the ontology ERI. So it's actually the shortest part of identifying our ontology. And we are using again as the HTML name. We also use imports because we are using the action type. Let's look at this Velocity macro, which is index.html. The Velocity macro again is using the Velocity template language, and it is recommended that you put all your macro definitions at the top. Here we have a set of the ontology name because it's something that we are going to use often, so we can get that ontology name in an easier to access variable using the set directive. We have one macro here for listing the classes in a table, and it iterates over all the classes in the signature. So for each row, we have the class, no? The class with the link to the class where it will be defined. This is another template will be used, I guess this one. And as a second column, we'll get the URI of this class. The same happens for individuals, for data properties, for object type properties. So how, when we interpret this template, we don't get output until here, and the first output is this. As you see, it is exactly an HTML file where we have inserted the class rows, the individual rows, the data property rows, and the the object property rows. We can run the whole template using two tests that we have set up for convenience. These two tests are the integrated test. In this test, you can test individually each velocity macro, and what this test does is sets up the velocity context exactly the same as the CodeGenerator tool would do for you. So all these are just convenience methods, loading the ontology, loading certain classes and certain variables, default variables, setting up where the output will be so you can check it up later, and finalizing the context. The test, in this case, it is setting up the variables that you need, so you can set up test variables. You can also set up the static variables that you will need, so you can ensure that whatever you put in the fully qualified name import, it is working. You can change where the output would be, and then you can call one of the methods that will run as a class, or run as an ontology, or run as a project. Each one will provide the specific context for that for. In this case, we can run the class underscore html.html.vm, so this one, as a static test. The second test you have available is the core usage test. This test is actually using the CodeGenerator tool core part. In fact, this is a splendid example of how you would create your own plugins for the CodeGenerator tool. As you can see, it is generating a project from a given XML file, in this case the XML file that we are creating for our template. It is providing an ontology, it is setting up the output directory, it is setting up different variables, and then finally it just processes the transformation project. You can find more details about how to create your own template in the wiki page. Hope you have found this video useful, and for any more questions you can use the contact information in the CodeGenerator tool documentation.